Hello, lovelies. Today we are celebrating one of the best flavors of summer, blueberries, with these absolutely incredible wild blueberry scones. You are going to go wild for the taste. Now, for these yummy scones, I'm gonna get started by mixing up my wet ingredients. I've got some half and half cream in my measuring cup here, and to that I'm going to go ahead and add some egg and some vanilla extract. Now, if you're looking for all of the measurements and the full recipe, you can always check the description box below the video. The full recipe is linked there, including all the measurements and all that good stuff. Then I'm just gonna get in here with my whisk and give this a good mix until it's well combined. And just as soon as that's all mixed up, we will set it aside while we get to work on putting together our dry ingredients. So in my bowl, I have got some all-purpose flour. To that, I'm going to add some sugar. So I've got about 1/3 of a cup here. These aren't going to be overly sweet, so we're going to be adding a nice sort of vanilla glaze on top of them. You can use a little more sugar, a little less, depending on how sweet you like your scones. I'm also to this going to add some baking powder, as well as a little sprinkle of salt. When you're baking, you always need a little salt. Then I'll just whisk these together until they're nicely combined. And it's time to add our butter. Now, one of the most important secrets of making really tender scones is that your butter be super, super cold when you add it to your flour. So I've got some super chilled butter that I've just taken out of the fridge, and I'm going to actually use my hands to just break it up into my flour mixture. And what I'm looking to do is just sort of mix that flour and that butter until it resembles sort of coarse crumbs. This is a great job for the kids to help with. I always think it's very, very zen. It's like one of the most meditative jobs in the kitchen, where it's just you and your hands breaking up the butter. Now, this job usually only takes 1 to 2 minutes to do with your hands, but if you wanted to, you could mix this up in a food processor and it would go even faster. It's totally up to you. And now it's time for the very best part. It's time to add our wild blueberries to this. Now, wild blueberries are usually in season towards the end of August and early September, but you can buy them frozen pretty much all year round, and they're a lot more affordable that way. So that's what I've done here. I've got some frozen wild blueberries that I'm going to get into my bowl. They are likely going to turn my dough into a slightly purplish hue, but that is a-okay with me because of course they're so tasty. Then I'm just gonna toss my blueberries in my butter and flour mixture before I go ahead and add my wet ingredients to this. Give it all a good stir, and then get in there with my hands just to help it form a dough, because your hands are your most valuable kitchen tool after all. You get this awesome marble effect with that purple. And keep in mind, you don't want to overmix this because you don't want to burst all of those blueberries. You want some to stay intact for the baking process. Now at this point, we are ready to shape our scones. So to do that, I've got a nice big pastry board that I have floured, and I just want to divide my dough in half, and I'm going to transfer half of my dough to the center of my pastry board and sort of pat it into a disc shape. So you're looking for something that's about, say, 6 inches across and about 1 inch thick. And then you just want to take a nice sharp knife and cut it into 6 equal pieces. Those are going to be your scones. Next, I'm just going to transfer each of my scones over to a parchment-lined baking sheet like so, and then repeat that process with the other half of your dough. Now, once all of your scones are formed, you're gonna wanna go ahead and chill this in your freezer. So it's really important to get the best texture with your scones to freeze your dough beforehand. So I like getting it into the freezer for at least 30 minutes or so. And then once it comes out of the freezer, I like to just brush the top of each with a little bit of milk. It gives it a really nice texture and color. I'm just using 2% milk here. You could do this with cream as well, but I find the milk works really, really well. You wanna make sure you get the tops and the sides too. And into my preheated oven, these are going to go at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for between, say, 18 and 20 minutes, which will give us just enough time to prepare our delicious vanilla glaze. Now, the glaze is totally optional, but it does add another element of sweetness that I find really great. So we're starting with some icing sugar in a bowl, and to that I'm going to add some half and half cream. as well as a nice splash of vanilla extract. So that vanilla with the blueberry flavor, so nice. Then we will just stir this until our sugar is dissolved in that cream and our glaze is ready. Now at this point, our scones are going to come out of the oven, and what I like to do is transfer them to a wire rack to allow them to cool just a little bit, and then I go ahead with a zipper bag and glaze the tops of them. Come on, guys. Just that little bit of added sweetness is going to make these so special. And now for the moment of truth. Oh my gosh, guys, you have to try these. The texture is amazing, the flavor is amazing. These scones are so delicious. Everyone on our team said they were some of the best we have ever made, and I tend to agree with that. They are super flavorful, and I think you guys are going to love them. I hope you guys will give them a try for yourselves, and if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because you know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. This recipe, like all of my recipes, is featured on our brand new website, thedomesticgeek.com, which is just bursting with all kinds of deliciousness, just like this. I've also created 4 brand new ebooks for you guys, including an amazing dessert ebook that is loaded with so many of my very favorite dessert recipes. I hope you love the ebooks and the website as much as I do. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.